walking with the ghost.
So I just got through watching The Mandalorian Chapter 2, The Child. Season 1, of course. And, it's like the first episode only was entitled Chapter 1, so they got a title for this one. At least you can say Chapter 2, The Child. Kind of awkward when you say Chapter 1 as a title for an episode, but anyway, let's get into it. And I got my notes here so I don't babble on, as I tend to do sometimes if I don't at least have some structure to my videos. But in the opening scene, the Mandalorian fights off the bounty hunters who attack him, and of course he has the child, or the baby Yoda, in tow. Now, after he's able to thwart them, he notices Jawas in their sandcrawler, and he then goes after them because he notices that they have his parts to his ship, in their possession. So he's going after them, and he's trying to board sandcrawler, and they try to run him off by driving his side or pushing his side of the craft of the sandcrawler into side of the hill or side of the mountain. He's able to get out of the way. He goes to the top. As he makes it to the top, you see Jawas with their blasters, and they all in unison hit him with it, and he falls to the ground below. Now, as he wakes up, the cutest thing, he looks up and sees Baby Yoda looking at him. And the thing about him is that I kept waiting for the baby to pull off some Yoda-esque moves, because I was just thinking, like, is he going to do something? It would be so cool to see, But anyway, Mandalorian returns to Kuil with the asset after his ship is destroyed. Well, like I said earlier, not really destroyed. According to the Mandalorian, it is only because he doesn't have parts. Now he talks to Kuil, and Kuil says, "I'll take you to the Jawas." He's all, "The Jawas? No way!" But he goes, "Yeah, I know them, and I have the beast. He has some sort of understanding with them." Now, as he's there talking to him, we see the baby Yoda with what is the legs of a land creature sticking out of his mouth. And it was a pretty sizable thing, and he was able to gulp that thing down whole. And disgusting but cute, Now, as they arrive, where the Jawas are, they arrive at their sandcrawler. They're in the middle of bartering or trade. They even go as far as to say that they want to trade for, the baby. Now, he's all going, "Why would I have to trade for something that belongs to me?" They giggle, the Jawas giggle to each other. And Kuil goes, "Hey, is there something else? There's got to be something else." And they, in unison, say, "The egg. Go get the egg and bring it back." Now, he asks for that egg, and what is the egg, They arrive at some location to retrieve the egg, and Mandalorian then enters a cave and gets royally sent on his ass by this beast that comes out. Now, beast is looks like a rhino type of a creature, big horn, very sizable, creature. And it's apparently the egg from this beast inside the cave that he must get. Now, he's fighting him off, the Mandalorian is, and he's really putting up a fight. But of course, this thing is 10 times his size, and was able to knock him on his ass a bunch of times, and just when, he's just readying himself, he has the knife in both hands in front of him, ready to just take on the beast as it's charging him. The baby raises his hand and he stops it and he starts levitating it. He starts lifting it up as if you remember the scene from The Empire Strikes Back when, Luke was like, he didn't think that he could lift the ship out of the swamp, right? It's too big. I can't do it. And then we see Yoda close his eyes and he lifts his hand and lifts a huge, the TIE fighter, no, not TIE fighter, but the Luke ship, out of the swamp. And he's all, I can't believe it. I can't believe you did that. And then Yoda said to him, that is why you failed. So he does the same thing the baby does. And I'm like, this is the moment I anticipated the whole episode. And he was able to stop him and lift him and levitate, this beast. And then the baby gets, just all of his energy just sapped out of him. And then he just falls back into his little bassinet, little carriage there. And then the beast falls. Now, the beast gets up again to charge or to at least try to finish off the Mandalorian, but the Mandalorian finishes the beast off with a knife thrust to the side of his neck. And I'm thinking, I don't think that's the thing that really took him out. I believe maybe it was that little life force thing that the little baby did. And so, the Mandalorian finishes it off. And, poor little thing, that put the baby to sleep, and he was all tuckered out, so. And I really, really liked that scene because it really was a trip. kind of, brought me back and, to the time when Yoda did that, like I explained. Now, after this, the Mandalorian heads back into the cave and he retrieves the egg and then he returns to the Jawas. Now, the egg is either a feast for the Jawas or some value on the black market there, and no, I was actually right the first time. They basically opened it up and just one of them had like a straw type of thing, and they're all drinking in the egg, and then they're just putting their hands in there and just, it's a free for all buffet, if you will. And they, like I said, they immediately feast on it. It's like that's what the Mandalorian went through, just so that he could bring them lunch. I'm like, come on, man! Like you went through all that, and I'm thinking they wanted to test him too to see whether or not he would be definitely worthy of getting his parts back. So he had to go through a fight with some ungodly, monstrous type of a beast for him to, pretty much conquer in order to get the egg. Now, he's all talking with Quill, and Quill's asking, is the baby hurt? And Mandalorian goes, not physically. I can't even explain what happened. Quill's asking them, and then even Mandalorian cannot explain, what happened, And, the force that he used, it'll move there, he drained the little guy, So, he's sleeping the whole time pretty much. Now, the Mandalorian does get his ship up and operational. And then he offers Quill a portion of his profits. Now, he's denied and then he offers him a place as his crew member, but Quill, has left work of servitude, And they then offer each other compliments and bid their adieus. They basically say goodbye. And the Mandalorian then takes off with the asset in tow. And while on board, the baby awakes, and then we see the ship sail off into the distance. And that was the episode. That was the Mandalorian. That was the episode, chapter 2, the child. And so far, so good. I liked this episode. It was a very eye-opening. I really liked how you can see the Mandalorian and how much he does have a heart. Like he is not just some bounty hunter, who seeks out bounties and does, you know, everything he needs to do in order to take out, in order to bring in the bounty that are alive, and we see him with this child. And there's one instance when he was about to take off, and he's like rocking the carriage and looking at him. Every time you would see him, he's always looking over. The only time that he really didn't show any kind of care, like he was kind of careless, because he was thinking about his parts for his ship, and he just takes off, leaves the little baby behind as he's trying to get his parts back from the Jawas. And I was thinking, what about the baby? What about the baby? Go back for the baby. And I guess the baby was going to be safe. And then again, we did see that the baby could take care of itself. Like just like doing the little hand thing, the force. I mean, I wonder if that's ingrained in them. But I mean, you do say that everybody in the universe of Star Wars does have, the force in them. There's some sort of thing that's going around, floating around, and then it's just a matter of them, being able to grasp it and to be able to use it. And maybe Yoda's alien race, I guess they are able to, even at that age of being a baby. But I enjoyed the episode, and let me know what you think down below. And for those of you who stopped by and checked out my channel and also watched my video, I appreciate it very much. And in closing, and as always, take care.